What's up, Epic 7? TristenWulf here, bringing you an expedition video for this rotation. We are going to be going against the Pain Pursuer Morai, the Light, the Blooming Snag Lich for Earth, and Hopeless Symmachus for Water. I know fire's gone, it sucks, but this is what we got for the next 2 months, and I'm going to show you some teams that are as free to play as possible to get you through this. I'll go over alternatives in case you don't have units I'm showing, so you can maybe swap out for something you do have. But first, I want to point out that we have sweeps now. This is a new addition, and sweeps give you the ability to go in and fight using anything. You can even not have gear. As long as you hit sweeps, you will do whatever your highest score this month is. So that will be a great way to clear through this and get some points banged out fast. But you need to get 1.8 million to do a full sweep on your friends and your own posters. So you want to be able to get these high scores at least once. To that end, take your best tech and gear and build these teams. Build them better than mine. Stronger, faster, harder hitting. Use your best gear, your RTA gear, your strongest gear, and do it one time to get that 1.8 million. Then you can put the gear back and just do sweeps and run a lower quality gear. And if you clear, great. If not, somebody else will clean it up for you. It'll be enough to get you through the battle pass, to get you the points you need to be able to do your own free posters. It's so nice to be able to sweep out your own posters. But for those of you who have the gear, I'm going to go through the teams for how to clear this. So first things first, let's jump into Blooming Snag Lich. Often called the Losers Club because Blooming Snag Lich uses a bunch of units that just aren't used anywhere else in the game. I'll go over some alternatives really quick here. Fire Cecilia is the best in slot. There's no one better. Now, you can also run Victorica, but remember, if you run Victorica, you'll have to manual the start so you can force her immunity and then put it on auto. Fire Cecilia can also work. She's got some nice cleanses. Fire Charlotte is okay. Ross is kind of mid. These are your options for your Fire Knight, but if you have Cecilia, she is the best. As far as Cecilia goes, you want her on her number 2 exclusive equipment so that you can get the slow debuff. If you don't have it, it's no big deal. You got slow elsewhere, but it really, really helps. Cecilia is great because she's got a defense break on her S1, immunity on her S3. You want her to take turns. Try to get her above 230, 235 speed. The faster, the better. You want her to cycle. If you can't hit these speeds on her, try her on Prophetic Candlestick so that she will be able to cycle her immunities around faster. Spamming immunity on this unit is the bomb. You want her to have 85% effectiveness, so that makes sure she sticks her debuffs. The boss has 100 ER. Subtract absolute resistance of 15 from that. You're at 85 effectiveness requirement. That's how that works, by the way. Other than that, a little bit of bulk. But really, not a lot. This is way overkill on the bulk. She only needs speed and effectiveness. Kind of an easy build. Next, we're going to run Mercedes. I'm not going to give you alternatives to Mercedes because everyone has Mercedes. Mercedes needs 2 things. She needs to not be base speed. Try to run her at least 160, 170 speed. And she needs to do damage. 85% crit chance because you have elemental advantage. You only need 85% crit. And the rest into damage. I've got her on a counter set and at 100% crit. That's mostly for using her in other aspects of the game, which honestly have largely gone away. I just haven't bothered changing her. You can run her on Destro. You can run her on Rage. You can run her on Attacker Speed. Anything. Whatever it takes to get as much damage as you can on her, run her that way. Counter set's nice, but certainly not required. Her own artifact is best in slot. Next, we're going to run Bomb Model Kana. Now, if you don't have Bomb Model Kana, go get her. She's free. She's free from the connections. There's one not free to play thing about Bomb Model Kana, though, is she requires Bloodstone. If you do not have the Bloodstone artifact, you do not run Bomb Model Kana. Instead, you run Mascot Hazel. Real quick for Mascot Hazel, if you don't have Bomb Model Kana and you're running Mascot Hazel, she needs 2 things. A little bit of bulk, and literally could almost be half of what you see here, right? Just, well, not half, but she does not need anywhere near this much bulk. What she does need is speed, as fast as possible. She's your Soul Weaver and your attack buffer. You want her to cycle and take as many turns as possible. Try to get her in the 230 to 240 speed range if possible. It's really not that hard when you're not putting anything on her but speed. I also gave her this artifact to help cycle her more. You can also try Prophetic Candlestick on her to cycle her skills faster that way if you can't hit the super high speeds. But if you have Bomb Model Kana, she's by far and away the best, because with Bloodstone, she is our Soul Weaver. Now, if you don't have an immunity spammer like Cecilia, Bloodstone will probably not keep up with the damage. So if you're going with any of the other Cecilia alternatives I mentioned, you'll probably be forced back into Mascot Hazel, but give her a try. Bloodstone's fine at plus 15. As for an exclusive equipment, the number 2 EE that gives you an additional 5% chance to dual attack is huge. Peak, best choice possible for her. As for stats, she gets in her passive a 40% boost. Mine's at 41 because I got the +1 down here. A 40% boost to effectiveness on her S3, and her S3 is the only thing that strips. So you really only need to have 45% effectiveness to give her the maximum chance to strip. So 45 effectiveness is all you need. And you know what? You don't even need that, because who cares if she strips? It's not that big of a deal. All you're doing is taking away the attack buff from the boss. The two things she really, really needs is, again, some speed. The faster, the better, because she is your healer, and the more damage the better, because Bloodstone procs off of the damage you do. So make sure she's got as much damage as she can and a little bit of speed, 85% crit chance, and if you want to throw the strip into her kit, 45% effectiveness. The last one on the team is Ball and Cezanne. I know nobody wants to run this guy. If you don't want to run Ball and Cezanne, you can run Fire Tenebria. I'm not going to bother pulling up Fire Tenny because you would build her the exact same way. I like her on, or him, but either Tenny or Ball on Etika Scepter. Cycles their skills faster. Alternatively, you can run Prophetic Candlestick. That will help cycle the skills as well, or just put a damage boosting artifact on there. I've got him on the number 3 exclusive equipment to increase his Requiem chances by 5%. That's where your defense breaks live. 85% effectiveness. Again, he is our debuffer, so he has to have 85% effectiveness. He only needs 85% crit chance. You're probably not using this guy anywhere else, so drop the crit chance to 85 so you can run his damage stats up. He hits freakishly hard, especially if you have put points into his S2. This thing hits like a truck. I'm not saying you should go and mola your Ball and Cezanne. If you're going to mola this guy, you only really need to take his S3 skill up to +4 to give you the maximum chance for defense break and speed down. Who cares about unhealable? Nothing else matters. You can't poison this boss, and this is just damage, so he is only a +4 unit. But if you want to get some extra damage on your team, you can slap some Mola in him as well. If you do not have Ball or Tenebria, just make sure you pick units that have multi-target hits on their S1 skills. Vildred, Charlotte, Arbiter Vildred, Champion Zerato, units like that. Any unit that can hit multiple targets will help, but Ball is best in slot because he brings that defense break, and without it, you are relying on Cecilia's S1, and that feels pretty bad. And that's it. This is how the team goes. All right, so at the start of the fight, Cecilia's going to use her S3, so give immunity to the whole team, which is important because the first thing the Lich does is try to poison everybody. Ball and Cezanne uses his S3. This will give us a defense break and a speed down. We got both of them in this case. It also does heal block. That doesn't do anything for us. Kana is going to use her S3. It's going to give everybody a speed buff, and Mercedes will use her S3. Will give everybody an attack buff. Guys, we have got everything. Everyone's attack buffed. Everyone's speed buffed. The boss is defense broken. The boss is slowed. This is the full package. Now, while this is going on, oh, and there's the attack buff. Cecilia also strips that, replaces with an attack down, and we are going to be pretty immortal. Now, let's go over some of the basics of this fight. Single target attacks do almost no damage. So make sure the units you're using are AoE or multi-target units. That's what makes Ball better than Tenebria in this, is even Ball's S1 is a multi-target hit. Tenebria's is only a single target, so once or twice every few rounds, Tenebria is only going to drop minor damage with her S1. Kana's AoE, Mercedes is all AoE. The only single target attack we have in all this is Cecilia, and her single target is a defense break, 75% chance. So even her S1, though it's not doing any damage, is beneficial. Now, you'll want to make sure your Cecilia is fast to keep up the immunity, because right now, the Lich is going to try to poison everybody, but because we've got immunity on everybody, we take no poisons. If you are struggling with poisons and damage, you're taking too many poisons, try shifting your Cecilia to Prophetic Candlestick, see if that helps keep you alive. The other thing is, the other reason we want all these AoE and multi-target hits is the boss at his ultimate, you can see he's getting ready to do his ultimate right now, puts a debuff called Neurotoxin that takes the majority of your health away when you take a turn. It's damn near impossible to survive, but we didn't take the Neurotoxin because we have the antidote, the immunization applied to us, and you get the immunization buff applied to you by taking the skill nulls off of the crystal away. See, the skill nulls are gone on the crystal, and then we hit the crystal again, and when you hit the crystal and you zero it out, it gives the immunization buff to your whole team, so you can't be affected by neurotoxin. And that's why you want multiple AoE targeted units to be able to get that immunization buff on you, so you don't have to worry about neurotoxins. And that's it, guys. That's the whole fight. So if you are struggling with doing enough damage, ramp your gear quality up. If you're struggling with being poisoned and having too much damage for your bloodstone to stay ahead of, make sure your Cecilias run faster. And if you are struggling with keeping the immunization or keeping the poisons off of you because you don't have Cecilia, maybe do it on manual the first time so you can target when you use immunity buffs on Victorica or cleanse buffs on Lilius, or get yourself a Mascot Hazel in place of Bomb Model Kana, so you've got a stronger healer and cleanser on the team. And you can also focus where Hazel puts the greater attack buff by selecting the unit you S3. Don't just click her S3. Whoever you target with the S3 will get the greater attack buff on this team. But that's it, guys. Even at this level of gear, it is pretty stably a full clear team. If you're struggling with it, once again, I will tell you to put your best gear possible on this at least once. Manual it if you need to, so you can use the Guardians to reset skills. You can soul burn Mercedes. You can soul burn Ball for extra damage. You can do all of these things. You can soul burn Cecilia for longer buff protections. Do it on manual the first time to get your 1.8 million if you're struggling, and then you can always fall back on sweeps. And if you don't quite clear, you just get close to clear, somebody will come along and finish it off for you. Probably, maybe. That's the hope. 1.7, 1.74, and 1.77. We took some poisons, but who cares, because this fight is over. Get him, Ball. Ball, you disappoint me. Now it's over. 1.8 million, and now I'll be able to do sweeps. Let's talk about the Hopeless Symmachus. So for the Hopeless Symmachus, this is my favorite team. We do have some alternatives. Brieg, I still think, is the best frontline knight for this. You can use Green Rowana to tank the front line, especially if you're going with a team that's super fast, relies on counters or extra attacks like Green Sid to try to proc the boss, to proc the healing. That works, but I mean, everybody's got Brieg, so I'm not going to go over many options for Brieg because he is just pound for pound usable. I've got Brieg at 85% crit chance, but I do have him on wings to get him up to 100%. He does not need it. He would work fine at 85. If you need to put Sword of Azera or some other artifact on him to keep him alive, go for it. Since we don't have Dark Expedition up this rotation, I don't have trouble with Brieg dying at all, so I've switched him off of Sword of Azera and put him onto a artifact that helps him bring a little damage to the team, but is most certainly not needed. Just like the pen set is most certainly not needed. It's just there because, hey, a buck's a buck, a little bit of damage helps. He only needs 35% crit chance because in his passives, he gets an extra 50% crit chance on his defense breaks, so that gets him to the 85%. So you only need 35% crit or effectiveness on your Brieg. Don't run him base speed, but don't run him too fast. 175 to 180 is my magic spot, mostly for Dark Expedition. Dark Expedition isn't up right now, so you can run him at any speed, but I like having him ready for when Dark comes back. And that's it, guys. Tons of HP, little bit of speed, little bit of damage, 35% effectiveness, all you need for Mr. Brieg. Lilka. Lilka is a 3-star unit, so I'm not going to belabor too many options for Lilka. I guess if you do not have her, the best replacements are Righteous Thief Ruzid or Mercenary Helga. Those are your two best options, but Lilka is perfection for this. I've got Lilka on Song of Stars. Plus 15 Song of Stars would work just fine, but you know, the more Song of Stars you have, the better. That will add target to the mix, making us do even more damage. You want your Lilka to be fast. You want her to cycle and take turns. We're Earth into a water boss, so you only need 85% crit chance, and again, 85% effectiveness. She is loaded with debuffs, including the artifact, so you want to make sure she's got that 85% effectiveness. Other than these two stats, the rest into damage. She doesn't need a lot of bulk. If you have trouble with her dying, then bulk her up a little, but I mean, mine's pretty paper thin, works just fine. Next is Tamarin. I'm not going to go over options for Tamarin because she is a free unit. You want some bulk on Tamarin. You are a fire unit going into a water boss. She's going to take a lot of damage, so make sure she has got a little bit of ass to her. You don't want her to die. The effect resistance is unnecessary. I've got her built like this in case I ever need her for outside of this PvE, but she doesn't really need any ER for this fight. I've got her at 85% effectiveness just so that she can strip with her S1, but it's not necessary here. Look, Tam only needs two things: to not die and to take some turns. So make sure she's fast, 220 speed, Magahar's Tome to help with the cycling. If you're not going to run her on Magahar's Tome, if you're going to put her like on Candlestick or something, that's fine, but make her even faster because she's got to cycle her turns. She is too fragile, fire into a water fight, to survive if she's not taking turns and healing herself and the team. And last is going to be our DPS unit. You have got options for a DPS unit. If you were here for the ReZero collab, Ram is a really good DPS. Slightly behind Ram on quality is a really good DPS Green Sid. He will work well. Another really good option is Wukong. Wukong is, I think, a little bit better than Ram if you build him damage. Most people have built their Wukongs to be anti-strays, and you'll have to give up on that tech for expeditions and stack a ton of gear on them. So if you don't have Fenris, try Wukong with a ton of damage gear. If you do have Fenris, though, he's by far and away best in slot for this fight. It's where he shines the most. Just stick a ton of damage gear on him. I went Destro Pen. I gave him the Strawberry Cake artifact for extra damage. He doesn't need any speed at all. The slower the better, actually, for Fenris. He doesn't need any effectiveness. He doesn't need any bulk. Doesn't need any speed. Just stack the damage. And remember, your Earth into water, so you can go down as low as 85% crit chance. I've got him up to 100 for other uses, but 85 works fine. And this is how the fight goes. All right, the start, you get hit. Everybody takes some bleeds. Look how hurt our Tamarin is. Lilka, CR pushes Fenris up. Tam takes turns because she's fast enough, heals. We get barriers from Brieg, and that will help keep the bleed damage off of us. Brieg applies a defense break and a slow debuff. Lilka deploys target. Now we've got speed, defense break, attack down. We got attack up on the units that it matters. It's the full gambit, right? It's what we talked about in the last expedition. Those are the debuffs and buffs you want for success. Now, because there's a speed buff on Fenris, he is inching forward ever so slowly. He finally takes a turn, and now Fenris gets to play. There's a big hit. Fenris counters. Since he's got attack buff, this should hit pretty hard. Not bad. We're going to push Fenris back up, and he's going to get his big attack off. Watch how hard this hits, guys. 194,000 damage, and that hit right there, that is why Fenris is so good at this. That's why you want him on the team if you've got him. Tamarin CR pushes everyone up again, resetting everyone's attack buff. And here's the great thing: Fenris gave himself greater attack buff. It only had one turn left, but since Tam S3'd and then turned into an idol and gave everybody an attack buff, the attack buff extended Fenris to a 2-turn attack, greater attack buff. Now we're back down to a 1-turn greater attack buff, but watch this. Tamarin's going to get to go again. Nope, this goes off greater attack buff. 1-turn greater attack buff. Lilka pushes him, 2-turn greater attack buff. Fenris attacks, and Tamarin tops it off again. You maintain a greater attack buff through this entire fight until the boss strips with his ultimate. So Fenris does insane damage throughout because he, unlike other units, he maintains Gab the entire fight. This guy had 5,000 attack. With greater attack buff, he is well over 8,500 attack, and that's why we're doing such unsettling amounts of damage. Guys, we're at 1.3 million, and we have not even hit the halfway point in the fight yet. That's how over-geared I am for this. That's how low-end your gear can be. As long as everyone is survivable, you're going to win this. 1.5 million. We're not even at the halfway point yet. Tam's going to push everyone up, extending that greater attack buff. Fenris hits. Brieg does his thing here. Get an extra hit into an extra hit from Brieg. Hit. Tam's going to S1. Oh, you know what? Tam's not going to get a chance to S1 because Fenris is going to end it right here. 1.8 million before the halfway point. We actually had enough damage going into this to clear it twice. So, banging good team. Much like the fire team, you can go much lower end on gear and still get a full clear on this. No real reason to do it on manual if you've got these units. If you don't have Fenris, use Ram. If you don't have Ram, use Wukong. If you don't have Wukong, use Sid. There are many ways to navigate through this. Oh, by the way, if you do use Sid, though, that Sid is so fast with so many extra attacks, you might want to consider dropping Tamarin and putting Rowana in the team just to keep you healthy. Too many counterattacks, Tamarin won't be able to keep up with it. So if you do use Sid and you're running into issues dying, consider Rowana for your team. Next, let's talk about Pain Pursuer Moroi. Moroi is the hardest one to do, and the one that in the past I've used a limited unit in the form of Cerise, and she is still best in slot. When you guys see this, if you think, oh, Tristen's got a new way to do this without Cerise, no, Cerise is still better. If you have her, you use her. But I want to show you guys how to do this without Cerise because she's a limited unit. She's one that not a lot of people have anymore who've just recently started. I want to show you guys a path forward without her. We've got 2 options, 3 if you count Cerise. We'll get to her in just a minute. Let's talk about the basics first, okay? Brieg, same Brieg we have run in the water expedition. I've got him at 100% crit chance because of bucks a buck on damage. He's only 85 plus the 15 from this artifact. You don't have to run this artifact. It was just a nice way to cheat some extra damage. You don't need the pen set. It's just a nice way to cheat some extra damage. You need 35% effectiveness because remember, Brieg gets a 50% effectiveness buff in his kit, so that gets him to the 85%. 175, 180 speed kind of range, the rest into HP and crit damage. That's all you need for Brieg. Next, we're going to run Zealot Carmen Rose. People are going to ask me, what's an option for Zealot Carmen Rose? The option is go get yourself a damn Zealot Carmen Rose. The 3-star specialty change, it's super easy to do. Doesn't even cost Molagor to level her up. She is made for this. She is best in slot for this team. If you really, really, really want an option for her, I tell you what, Green Auden. That's right, Verdant Auden is your best option. So go ahead and change your Light Auden to Verdant Auden and brick that unit, and you can use her in place of Zealot. For the rest of you, go get your Zealot Carmen Rose. Build her relatively fast. I got mine at 196 speed. If you can do it with a Rage set or a Destro set, even better. She brings a ton of damage, but you want her to be fast. The reason we're running her fast this time around is because she is our only source of buff block. And you've got to maintain buff block on this boss, or things are going to be rough. Now, you can speed this along a little bit by changing her artifact out to Prophetic Candlestick. It's going to let her have buff block more often. It'll help reduce the RNG, but giving up 30% extra damage is kind of a tall order. I'm just going to leave the damage on her. She, in her kit, if you look in her specialty change, you'll see that she gives herself a increase effectiveness as long as she's at 50% health. She's usually at 50% health. That's why you only need 35% effectiveness on her. All of the debuffs she's going to stick at an 80 or 88% now, plus 50% to whatever this number is. Run her fast, give her as much damage as possible. Don't worry about bulk too much. She's got a self-heal on her S1, so she never really gets into trouble for HP. Damage dealer. Best in slot damage dealer, surprisingly, is Fenris. That's right, guys. If you have got a Fenris, he actually does better than Sirmia when it comes to damage. Unless Sirmia's S1EE for multi-target hits go off way more often, Fenris out damages her. It's crazy, but it's true. I think it's just because the amount of time he keeps Gab up and how hard his mods hit. So 100% crit chance on Fenris and the rest into damage. He can actually be slow. He does so much damage, he works slow. If you want to run Fenris, go for it. But Surmia is free. So we're going to run Surmia. You want her on her #1 exclusive equipment for that 25% chance to get an extra tap with her S1. That thing proccing is what lets you clear. I've got her on Border Coin just to speed her up a little bit, and mostly because I don't have many other artifacts, but you can run her on any damage boosting artifact. Symbol of Unity, Our Beautiful Seasons, anything that gives extra damage when she hits. I've got her on a Rage set. Again, for extra damage, you could run her on a Destro set, attack set, speed set, whatever you want. You do want her on a little bit of speed. Try to keep her north of 150. It's more important that she takes turns to get into her gab than that she just does a hard nukes and takes longer to get her greater attack buff up. That's it though. A little bit of speed. I got her on speed boots to make the speed happen, and then the rest into damage. And on her #1 exclusive equipment. And try Fenris out. See how he works out for you. If Fenris works great for you, you can maybe consolidate your gear a little bit more, not have as many units geared. Last spot here. This last spot, the best in slot for this location is by far and away Cerise. And what makes Cerise so good for this is she's got a strip. She has got a buff block. She gives herself immortality, so she stays alive even at low health. And she can wear a debuffing artifact like Song of Stars, Miss Confile, or Elysiac Candle. It makes her by far and away the best unit for this. And her dual attacks are only conditional around her S3 being in cooldown, which is pretty constant. 85% crit chance. Do give her 100% crit and some damage to help her stay alive, and the rest into speed. And this is the best unit to use here. But if you don't have Cerise, she's limited, so maybe you don't have Cerise. The second best unit to use is going to be Camilla. Now Camilla has a higher requirement. First, you want to have her at 85% effectiveness. #1, her S1 is a defense break, and we want that. So you want her at 85% effectiveness. You want the rest into damage. So I've got her as much damage as I can get her while still running fast. You see, she has got no way to keep her ass alive, and at 8,700 health she's going to die to a sneeze, so I have to put her on a self-healing artifact to keep her alive. She's not going to take enough turns and do enough damage to keep herself healthy without it. You could also try Proof of Valor or Golden Rose to help keep her alive, but unfortunately she needs something to help keep her alive, or she's just not going to work. She does not have the ability to put target debuff. She does not have the ability to strip. She does not have the ability to buff block. And for all those reasons, Cerise is better, but you can use Camilla, and we're going to. A third option, if you are having trouble staying alive, though she doesn't bring as much damage to the team, Wanderer Silk is option #3. She does have a dual attack, and like Cerise, she allows us to bring target with Song of Stars, or defense break with Miss Confile or Elysiac Candle, more defense breaks. And her S3 has an attack down debuff, and the attack down debuff helps keep you alive, makes Moroi do less damage to you, so you will be able to go through the fights longer. You need her to be super fast to cycle her extra attack, her dual attack, to cycle her strip. That's right, her S3 is a strip as well. The only thing that Cerise has that Silk doesn't have is more consistent dual attacks and buff block. And those are very important things. But hey, you know what? If you don't have her, Silk is a good alternative. Now, Silk doesn't bring as much damage to the team, so you're going to have to rely on having better gear on your units. But this will work. 85% crit chance, much speed you can give her, all that good stuff. But let's try it with Camilla. So we're going to jump into the fight and see how it goes. This fight may as well be called RNG Central, especially where we're running it. You're going to need to have plenty of luck on your side. So at the start of the fight, Zealot... No, that's right. We'll do an attack buff here and a hit, and then that puts the defense buff up. Hopefully we strip the defense buff here with Zealot and replace it with buff block. We did not get the strip, but we got the important buff block. Hopefully Brieg strips and replaces that defense buff with a defense break. Lovely. And we got the slow debuff, so we got everything. Surmia is going to S3. She's got no attack buff, no gap, so it only hits for a weak 36. We dual attack. We hit again. That extends the slow debuff to 2 turns. Brig hits. Sirmia finally gives herself gab. Border coin stacks start to go up. She drops her S3. Now we're doing some real damage at 68k. We dual attack. We did not get the S1 hit. Our defense break and our buff block goes away, and now we're faced with the defense buff again. This is where Silk would be nice because Silk could strip. But thank goodness Brig can strip. Hopefully strip replaced with defense break. Show me. Good. We got the strip and the defense break. Zealot Carmen Rose comes in with her S3. We get buff block, back in action. You gotta maintain it. All it takes is 115% to throw everything into chaos. Now you can min-max this even more by manualing it. You can target when you use the S2 on Sirmia. You can soul burn her S3 for extra damage. You can use soul burns on Zealot Carmen Rose. You can decide to go S2, S1 instead of S2, S3 on your Camilla to get additional dual attacks. It makes this pretty easy to do on manual. So if you are not getting your 1.8 million, this is a great team to run on manual. You will be able to force your way through it and get that 1.8 first climb clear pretty quickly. Okay. We're at 800, almost 800. Okay, we're a little bit shy. We're at the halfway point here. We're 100k off. We need 900k to be at the halfway point. So we're a little bit shy. Got a double hit now into a defense break. That was lovely. Or into a defense buff. As lovely. Zealot gets hosed on the slow debuff. Hey, we got a defense break, and Sirmia double tapped into it. Very nice. Notice how hurt Camilla is. Camilla almost took a dirt nap there, guys. How low is Camilla's health? Freakishly low. Can we get a strip here? We got the strip. Camilla heals up because of Sigurd's Scythe. And do we get buff block? We do. Okay. Greater attack buff. We're back in action. We just need a bunch of extra hit S1s from Sirmia to get us back on track. We'll extend this defense break to a 2-turn defense break. Oh, it was already 2-turn. Well, that's fine. We attack buff up. We do some damage, healing ourselves up. Good hit, no extra attack. Good hit, dual attack, no extra attack. Man, my S1EE hasn't procced a single time here except off of that random dual attack into a defense buff. That's pretty sad. Hit, and yeah, there it is. There's the extra hit from that exclusive equipment. Very nice, very nice. Oh, and again, 1.4 million. We're moving along nicely. Tell you what, I can't wait to put Cerise back on this team. Let's go with the S3 for the 2-turn buff block. Sirmia gets her greater attack buff, and we drop in a big nuke. Takes us up to almost 1.6, and the BS phase where everything is stripped. Lovely. Okay, hopefully we can deal with the fact that we got a defense buff up, and we are far away from any strip or buff block. Hey, we got a double hit, 1.67. There's a big hit and another hit, big pop damage. We're on the last round. Brig, please show me a strip. Brig, we've got to get a strip and a defense break here, or we are not making it out of this alive. This is where doing it on manual is also good because you can be using your guardians to reset skills. Wow, we did not get rid of that defense buff. That's pathetic. And Camilla S3, or S3s. Brig, can you finish it for me, please? Please finish at 1.878, 1.79. 18. Holy crap, that was close. Man, I can't wait to put Cerise back on this team, but it shows you it can be done. With Camilla, if I put better gear on the units, I could make it cleaner. Similar kind of a fight with Wanderer Silk. But there you guys go, especially if you manual it. If you're struggling, manual it, get your 1.8, and then you can just do sweeps. For those of you who needed a full clear team, there you go. Better gear makes it more consistent. Cerise makes it more consistent. Silk works fine too. Hopefully this gets you through it. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm gonna go re-gear my Cerise. Take care, everybody.